And spawning in the top left-hand corner of side Delta, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Kyor. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. Here we go. Going to be settling in. And I'm curious to see how Classic has been working on his TVP here over the past couple of months. I mentioned before that Classic, he just hasn't been as active. He still does compete in KSLs, clearly, as well as Wardy TV Mondays, but Classic is not really too active when it comes to the other online open cups, referring to KSRC, referring to the Pigosaur Cup, or the Tenacious Turtle Tussle, or Sparkly Tuna Cup. Some of these other open events, Classic isn't too active in those at least. So I'm curious to see how his PvT has been evolving. For a long time, Classic was very fond of Stargate openers, very fond of Stargate play, but we'll see what he goes for this time, especially on a larger map like Site Delta. Oh boy. Here we go. Meanwhile, Kyor for a very long time was very fond of 3-Raxes, or even more modern play, more current play, 3cc 3-Rax, which Bjorn has been very fond of as well, which you can get away with on Side Delta. For now, Gate Expand. Economic opener here by Classic, going for a more delayed Cybercore. Meanwhile, Kyor going for the Marine first into a faster CC. So economic opener here by Kyor and Classic. Wait for the CC on location. Kyor, of course, is going to be skipping his SCV scout. He's going to be skipping his Reaper scout as well. So Kyor is cutting corners. Okay, I was going to say, did he cancel the Marine? Okay, no quite. Did make the Marine. Going for the reactor and just scouting for proxies. Tells him scout across the map, but just make sure that he's safe at home. And we have confirmation it is not going to be a second Rax, it's not going to be a third CC, that is going to be a factory. So Kyor going for a more 1-1-1 setup. Not being too crazy. Likewise, Classic going for his tech of choice. I was talking about a Stargate opener earlier, which we have seen many times by Classic. Likewise, especially on Side Delta, but this time it's going to be a Twilight Council instead, working towards Blink. I would imagine Blink. I mean, there is a niche build where you can go for a Dark Shrine in this matchup, which can be very chaotic and can catch some Terran players off guard, but we don't see it too often. Should be working towards Blink Stalkers, into a second gateway, into potentially a third. Meanwhile, the Adept does move out. Marines in position. Adept will shade into the natural, will delay some mining. Not bad. Does delay some mining time. Adept shades out. Behind this, Kyor going into his 1-1-1. Cyclone's on the way, bearing in mind that Kyor has not scattered across the map, so a Cyclone opener makes a lot of sense here to be safe against anything, against Stargate opener into Oracle, into Phoenix, or even Stalkers. And from here, this can lead into drop play with a medevac. As Kyor is getting ready for his move outs, medevac is on the way alongside the second Cyclone, and Kyor is pushing. Meanwhile, back at home, Classic, he does not just go for a second gateway, goes for a third gateway as well. So a 3-gate Blink opener out of Classic, very safe. Oh, but as Classic moves out, he misses the army. He misses the main army, and he's out of position. Uh-oh. I'm getting a little bit concerned. Classic, okay, he does turn back around. Is racing back home, thankfully. Here come reinforcements. Now, Classic is going to have a shield battery with an overcharge. He will not have any force fields. No sentry. Getting up to 4 Stalkers. I want to say with the help of an overcharge, Classic should be okay, assuming he has the energy for it. Going for the third. Kyor, he rocks up, going for the Artosis pylon. No, the pylon! Pylon goes down. D-powers, the gateway, not the shield battery, thankfully. There was the backup pylon. Overcharge gets popped. And can Classic hold on? He has to pull the boys. But with the help of the boys, he should be able to hold on. And 2 Cyclones left. Nice blinks. Blink does complete. And Classic will shut this down. Whew. And takes down the medevac, takes down both Cyclones. Classic holds. Oh my god. I was very concerned for a moment there. Thankfully, there was a second pylon keeping everything powered. Classic defense, he loses 4 probes, he gets away with his third base, and that was a lot of supply thrown away for Cure. Thankfully, Cure does have a tank back at home, he's got a bunker on the way, his natural base should be secure. Classic does test the waters. Gets 1 SCV, backs off. Again, Classic just poking in, getting his third up and running, and taking up. Working towards charge, forge +1, and his upgrades. So Classic is working his way towards the mid game. Meanwhile, Cure, no third CC yet. Getting into his 3-1-1 setup. Stim is on the way, building on more Marines. We'll keep an eye out for that third CC timing. Did just go for the 1 eBay. That could be a tell that here he's working towards a +1 timing and not working towards a longer, later game. Curious. Okay, third CC. Whew, we're good. Third CC is on the way. Raven is denied. And it's going to be on Classic to slow down this push and delay the third. As Cure moves out, is spotted. Classic picking off 2 Marines so far. Oh, getting 3. Not bad. 3 Marines, doesn't lose any Stalkers yet. We'll have to rotate them around. It does shuffle them. Again, not losing a single Stalker. Ideally, Classic would like to catch a tank, but that's going to be a little bit ambitious. Oh! And 1 Stalker falls. Behind this, additional Warpins. Charge is done. Cure is getting within range of that third. At the same time, Raven does attempt to harass. Raven went down, actually. Uh-oh. And Cure backs off. I do like this from Cure. Remember, he got scattered. He knows he got scattered, so the likelihood of Classic being ready at the third is quite high. So Cure backs off. He's hoping to try to catch the army here and lead Classic into the tall grass. And the armies, they miss each other. Uh-oh. They do completely miss each other. Classic headed towards the would-be third. And Cure going towards the third base of Classic. We could just commit to a base trade. Does Classic recall? Does he recall back home? The army is spotted. He turns around. Up. And he does recall. Tanks are sieging up. Classic diving in. Ooh, the mine shots are brutal. They take down most of the zealots. All the hallucinations. He's trying to tank some shots, but alas, nice target firing at a Cure. Hallucinations go down. And Classic, he is hurting. Extra warpins on the way. Tanks are a little bit far back. And Classic, he does commit, does collapse on those Marines. Does force them back. But the overcharge is running out, and as Classic is trying to hold on to that third base, Curie does go for a double drop into the main. He's pulling Cure apart. Classic apart even. Can go for the upgrades, for the production. Stims in. He's going for the mineral line. Classic, he has to respond. Turns back around. Oh, the mine shots! Up! Oh, they didn't quite go up. And the entire army does rotate. And in the midst of all this, Curie can hit the third. At the same time, though, Zelarabite does distract him. But he stims in, catches a Colossus. Oh, Colossus goes down. Massive pickoff. And Classic, he just cannot keep up. He's being torn apart. 16 probes go down. And the Nexus can fall as well. Not quite going for it. Trading with the army instead. Distracted by the Zealot counterattack. Nexus does survive. Oh my god. The tank shots. They take down the Stalkers, most of them. The Zealots are cleaned up. 17 probe kills. And Cure takes a worker lead. He's up in workers, he's up in mules. He has a greater economy. The Zealots are at least keeping Cure busy. But he has a massive lead. He wants the prism. I don't quite get it. War Prism survives. The Vikings will chase it down. And without that War Prism really hindering Cure, he can't commit. And Cure has a massive supply lead. Again, Classic, he played out the early to mid game quite well. It's just unfortunate that he was caught out of position. You know, he had to recall back home. He wasn't set up. He wasn't able to deny the siege of the tanks. Classic, he was caught with his pants down. Oh no. As a result, Kira now has a 50 supply lead. Aye. So I'll say we'll pick up some SCVs. But it's all about the main army. There are going to be some force fields. Classic holding on to the third at least. Zell still wreaking havoc. They do get some of those mules. Oof. You can see Curie desperately wants to just dive in and go for the Colossus. Force fields are keeping him at bay. They just get the fourth. You just go for the fourth expansion. Classic desperately needs extra Colossus. Second Colossus on the way. Trying to break out. Again, these Zealot Rumbites, they have been the MVPs. They've been keeping Classic in this. But there's only so much they can do. Kira getting a 4. Moves out. Ooh, and a brutally MP. Oh my god. He caught every single sentry. The Stalkers as well. And Kiri's looking overwhelmed. GG gets called, and Kira takes game number 1. GG. Kira will take a lead in the series. Again, Classic just caught out of position, forced to recall back home, and forced to recall against 3 sieged up tanks against a terrifying bio army. Kira, he took an insane trade and just snowballed from there. And with that, Kira now ahead 1-0. And now we're jumping into game 2. It's going to be on Oceanborn. Let's go. Gonna be loading into Oceanborn. And we'll see if Classic can force the ace match or if Kira will take it here and now. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran representing Team Liquid, leading the series 1-0. It is Kyor. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss representing Twisted Minds, down in the series, leaving a bounce back. It is Classic. We go. We go. Classic does poke in. For now, it is going to be a double gas opener out of Cure. Double gas leading to a faster factory, delayed CC. So a very different kind of opener this time. It makes sense. Cure, he went for a more economic opener on Site Delta, which is a much larger map, longer rush distance. You can afford to be greedy and cut corners. Here on Oceanborn, a much smaller map, he's just going for a safer build instead. Is setting up for that factory. Meanwhile, Classic back at home. Another gate expand. Nothing too crazy, nothing too wild, no crazy proxy. No pylon out on the map. Being as annoying as possible with that probe. It will be forced out. And from here, this can lead into initially a tank-based push with Banshees, can lead into a Widowmine drop, can lead into Reactor Cyclone Medevac drop as well. Curie has options. Reactor to Hellion Reaper. Oh, sorry, Reactor Reaper Hellion. And we'll see what it's going to be. Now moving out with this first Reaper. Looking to get some scouting information. Looking to get some damage done as well. Additional Reapers on the way. Classic is just setting up. Oh, going for a very safe opener. Going for a Robo. Okay. It's going to be a Robo opener out of Classic. With this, it can lead into faster Immortal production, faster Colossus, and even a War Prism to harass. Let's have that option. Again, the downside of a Robo Opener is you do lack map control in the mid game. That's what Blink Stalkers and Phoenixes provide you. It's what a Robo does not. But it can kind of send you down the path of going to a fast Bay, into fast Colossus, into just a very secure setup on 3 bases. So we'll see what Classic goes for. Reaper's threaten the dive, so does the Adept. Classic trying to keep up with the Reapers. They do outposition the Stalker. They don't quite dive though. Reaper's backing up. Natural Base finishing up for Cure. And behind this, setting up for a drop. It's just going to be Marines, initially a Cyclone. Medevac's on the way. And Classic is opting not to go for a fast Bay, but he's going for a Twilight Council follow-up instead. Interesting. I'm curious if he's just going for a later Blink Stalkers, as he is going for that safety Immortal. Again, Classic doesn't really have much to work with. But the Immortal is on the way to help him be secure. Likewise, Cure getting to really fast tank production. First tank is on the way. Observer will confirm. Classic gets eyes on the production. Is aware. Be headed towards that natural. Likewise, Clash is just securing himself. Yep, getting a third. Building up. Charges on the way, not Blink. And Classic moving out with his Immortal is a very bold move. There's a lot of value in that War Prism. He's going for the Immortal drop. So far, so good. Working towards, I would imagine, Charge the Archon. We'll see what Classic can get done. And hopefully he doesn't lose the War Prism. I mean, again, there's an Immortal inside. Can't afford it. Goes to the mineral line, gets one SCV. Disable wasn't researched. So Clash doesn't have to worry about that. Goes for the Cyclone, does get it. Cyclone goes down, and the Prism will escape. Remember, Stim was delayed in favor of tank production. And without Stim Marines, oh my god, tank volley. Jesus. Without Stim Marines, the Prism will be able to get out. Does slip away from the natural, gets 3 SCVs, not bad. Just a handful of workers and doesn't lose much of anything. Meanwhile, Cure, he wants that Prism. Actually dropping in towards the main. Going for his own harass. Classic threatens the natural. Cure doing the same. Going for the third. But Classic is ready for it. Into the main as well. We'll have a harder time trading against the Cyclone, but he will get the Medevac. Medevac goes down, so does everything else. Drop into the natural, more SCV kills. Where's the tank? Cure heals a little, moving out. Classic doesn't get much SCVs, but he does delay the push. Stim is done in 5 seconds. Classic has to get out of here. And can he recall in time? It's gonna be close. Up. Oh my god. Does barely recall in time. One more Viking shot. The Immortal survives. Classic makes it back home, getting to his 4th base. Colossus production has begun. And remember, Kura, he was about to move out, but now he's stuck at home, getting his own 3rd. And working towards that mid game. And so far, Classic has gotten away with his build. Has gotten away with it. Colossus are amassing. Prism finally goes down. Without that War Prism keeping Cure pinned back at home, he can finally be active. But it might be too late at this point. And hey, there's already Colossus. Soon to be 2. Yeah, here we go. As Cure does finally move out. As he moves out, so does Classic. The armies will meet. Classic does spot it. And Zelze collapse in. That's anti-armor missile. They force fields, they lock down the army. They keep Cure pinned back. Classic gets the hell out of there. Zelze hit the mineral line. 5 SCV kills, forcing Cure back home. Getting a couple of Widow Mines. Cure, he does not turn around. He commits. Does commit. Second Colossus has arrived. Hasn't joined up with the main army. F2, papi, F2. Colossus just chilling at the natural. There's more reinforcements on the way. The Colossus, there we go. Now comes in. And Curie just doesn't have much left over. Tank went down, no more Widow Mines. Lost 6 SCVs earlier. And again, it feels like Classic is reaching its final form. Extendo Lance is already done. And this Bio Army cannot push up this ramp. Going for the Doom Drop instead. Okay, fair enough. Splits up his army. Classic getting a 5th expansion already. You're ready for the run by this time. That does mean the main army is that much weaker. Classic knows it. Alright, shots going up. Just the 2 Widow Mines though. Classic trying to chase him down. At the same time, Kira going towards the natural. Oh, War Prism. War Prism gets caught out. Not bad. Oh, that's a lot of Zealots. And Classic, he should be able to hold on. Kira, he does kite well. That's a lot of Zealots. There's a lot of charge lots chasing Kira down. Main army rotates as well. I'm sure Classic would love to move out, but he did just lose the War Prism, has to rebuild it for a 3rd time. Without reinforcements, Classic not really too fond of trying to break that 3rd. Otherwise, I do think he could. And unlike the previous game, Cure, he just hasn't been able to touch the bases. He hasn't been able to get into any kind of mineral line and do anything to the 3rd, the 4th, or the 5th. Classic has been left untouched. Time and time again, Classic is just so quick to engage in the center of the map or just outside his bases. Has been keeping up with the rotations. Keeping Cure busy with these run-bys. So again, just a little more map control this time for Classic. And now he's pushing. Getting another... Jesus. Classic, calm down. Getting another base. Getting a 6th. Why not? I mean, he's maxed. Sure, I guess. Classic is maxed out. Rotating towards the natural. That is a lot of Vikings. Vikings are here. They take down... Ooh, not even the first Colossus. The juggling. Vikings finally, Colossus are going down, but the Zealot do charge on forward. Nice kiting though here from Cure. He pulls away. Takes down the Immortals. We're running out of Vikings though. There's one Colossus left. It barely makes it through. And it looks like the Ground Army has crumbled. ClanKy does take game number 2. Does tie things up 1-1. GG. Whew. GG. Classic looking so much more assertive here in game 2. Again, we mentioned before, but we just really didn't see Cure getting across the map. He did try to go for some drop play at some point or another. Did try to go for the Cyclone drop, if you remember, as well. But for the most part, ClanKy was keeping up. He was able to get eyes on each of the attack pods as well. And Cure, he wasn't able to touch the economy of Classic. And this time, the Protoss was the one able to snowball out of control instead. And with that, Classic does tie things up, and we are going to the ace match. Let's go. We're going to game 3. Is going to be on Alkyone. Let us go. We'll see what our openers are going to be this time. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkyone, we have our South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Team Liquid. It is Cure. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the red Protoss player from South Korea, representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. Oh my god. As Curie sends his first SCV out across the map very quickly, I imagine Curie was planning to go for a eBay. I'm sure he was planning to go for an eBay block, but Classic is quick to chase down the SCV and to make sure that no shenanigans are on the way. As a reminder, Cure, he actually skipped his SCV scout in game 1 and in game 2, so this SCV is very unorthodox, or very suspicious, I should say, here in game 3. Was forced back. Classic still chasing it down, making sure he can safely expand. Yeah, as the third probe comes down as well, there's the eBay, but with all this setup, it shouldn't really get much progression. It does get some, at least. Will still delay. But is going to be forced to be cancelled. And Classic can now expand. Whew. So, all in all, I would say a better start for Classic. Like, typically this would force, 7, 8 probes off the mineral line down to the low ground. Maybe even a Zealot as well. Worst case scenario, Classic forced to expand at a third location instead. But just a good read. Good read by Classic. Does keep up. Does shut it down. Meanwhile, Cure back at home just going for a Rax into CC on the high ground. Very safe opener by Cure. His expansion is going to be delayed as he has to float it down, but overall just an economic start. Now we can settle it. Once again, it is going to be the factory follow-up. No fast third CC. No 3 racks. Go. And once again, Classic opening up Robo. This is something that we have seen a little bit more trendy as of late for Classic, going for these Robo openers. As I mentioned in the previous game, this is just a very safe way to open up. Does give you access to early Immortal production, gives you access to early Colossus production as well, if need be. So 2 games in a row going for the Robo. Classic shading across the map. Trying to get eyes on the tech. Does at least confirm the lack of add-on swap. Spots all the Marines, and looks like Cure is getting ready for a Marine Wouldn't Mind drop. As the medic is soon going to be on the way. The medevac even. Cure will soon be moving out. Is that medevac? Meanwhile, Classic, he hasn't seen much of anything yet. Does pull back, going Observer first. There's the safety Immortal. And with this setup, ClanKy should be okay as long as he's in position. It's a big if, though. Oh, Cure going for a very fast tank follow-up. Interesting. So very fast tank production here for Cure. Does move out. The observer will spot the drop. Will miss the drop, I should say. Doesn't spot it. Likewise, Cure, he does avoid the Zelnaga tower. So far, unscattered. I'm curious if Classic notices the lack of Marines and the lack of units back at home. Sees the tech labs. Back in the main base, nothing in position. Classic is at the natural. But Kira doesn't pull the trigger yet. Still holding on. Classic going into his third before he's taking his gases. Just the one. And just like the previous game, Classic is going for a faster charge and the Twilight Council before the Bay and before Colossus production. Going for the Immortal drop. It's the same build. Straight up same build from game 1. Sorry, from game 2. As he moves out, that might just trigger Cure to move in. Classic is head towards the main. There is a Wooderman in position. He's behind the gas geyser. Speaking of, up! The wide shot goes up! Ooh, massive connection! Prism is low, Wooderman goes down. Classic has to be so careful with this Prism. Oh, does he get it? Oh my god. Calm down. Prism gets out. 7 HP. At the same time, Cure moves in, boosting into the main. As he does have a shield battery. Stalker's warping in time, and he should be okay. Shield battery is targeted. The Marines are cleaned up. And Classic holds. Not without losing 3 probes, though. Oh. 4 probes even. Let's see what the toasts do pop off. From here, we can calm things down. Once again, Cure just getting into 2 tanks, focusing on Widowmine production thereafter. Oh, and Classic, he's not just going into Colossus production, but he's going into a Stargate as well. Interesting. I mean, Classic, he is one of those players that is very quick to rush into Skytoss if he feels an opportunity to do so. This is a good map for it, but can he get away with it? Stargate is done. Does he throw down the fleet beacon? Wait, did he cancel? Okay, he canceled. I was like, he's crazy. Does cancel the Stargate. Jumping into the main and going for the add-ons, and he will not deny combat shields. Doesn't like concussive shell at least. Does get 1 upgrade. Was hoping for the other. Not again! Oh my god! The same Widowmine! I should say, a replacement Widowmine. Does shut it down. Prism falls, and now Cure can focus on his push. He is moving out across the map. Scans a third. First Colossus has arrived. There are force fields available. Second Colossus on the way. It's going to be 1 shield battery with an overcharge. But is it going to be enough? Classic trying to dive in. But Curie can hold his own. He just sims on forward. He doesn't lose any tanks. Rotating towards the 4th. There is none. Not yet. But that's positioning with the tanks. Army gets spotted. And Cure actually dropping into the main. Army's out of position. Do we force a recall? There's a warp in. There's a Colossus. Classic gonna try and hold on. Almost Wife's getting wasted. A mineral line under fire. That's gonna be 10, 11, 12 probes falling. Brutal losses for Classic. The rest of the army does respond. And there's no punish. There's no blink. Medivacs they get out. Tanks are pushing forward, a brutal choke point as well. Classic does harass across the map with their reinforcements. And he's being pulled apart. Again, 17 probe kills was brutal. And Classic, he knows he can't engage. He cannot push into this. Not with Zealous, I should say. Oh my god. Brutal anti-arm missile goes up. Classic cannot push in. Zealot Runby does buy some time, does distract Cure at least for a moment. But again, plenty of reinforcements. So he's going down. Classic, he does push in. Into a brutal choke point. First tank goes down. Second tank barely as well. But he wants a Colossus. And can he get them? Not quite. There's the overcharge. Classic, he will hold. But he lost 27 probes in the process. 27. The Dewdrop is cleaned up for the most part. It is going to be cleaned up, but Classic is down to almost half the worker count of Cure. Cure has a massive worker lead, plus mules. And what can Classic do from here? He lost the War Prism across the map, he has to rebuild, plus 2 is on the way. Classic does have his Colossus, but the ground army support, it's not really there. They're going to catch out the army. Does get a couple of swipes off. Classic throwing down a 4th Nexus. Tells us that he's not going all in. And really what Classic needs is a Zealot Runby as Cure moves out. Either a Zealot Runby towards the natural, towards the third, a Warp it into the main. Something drastic. The problem is even that might not be enough, as Cure still maintains a massive supply lead. Second rover is on the way. That should be for eventually disruptors. Drop into the main. Zealot Runby towards the third. Towards the natural. Oh god, there are Vikings! Vikings in position. Prism goes down. Reinforcements at the natural. The Zealot Runby is that they don't do much. Aye. But again, it was all that Classic could do. He gets 4 SCVs. It's something. That will trigger Cure. Disruptors are on the way. This is, of course, pre-patch, so disruptors, they can still one-shot Marauders. True. Still have potential. Alright, just going up. Main army moves out. Disruptors have arrived. Never goes up. But it doesn't quite connect. Grazes the army. There's one more over in the chamber. Classic is thinking about it. He wants that Nova. Spots the army rotating. Classic moves out. Likewise sharking around. Getting zone 4th. Classic double expanding. And hey, Classic, he is slowly stabilizing. He's getting there. Does need more time. Oh, that's a lot of Vikings. That's 10 Vikings here for Cure. There he goes off. Forces a stim. Zealot Runby towards the natural, but alas, our Widowmine's in position. Not the best mine connections. But there's a bunker. So let's take it into the mineral line. Here's main army pushing towards the gold. Classic does get 5 SCVs. Not bad. 7 even. 8. Okay. 8 SCVs go down. Both armies about to max. I'm impressed here that Classic's been able to keep up. Has been keeping up. Go base is spotted. Q moving in with his drop. And the main armies do clash. Disruptors going down. Massive EMPs. And 2 disruptors go down. No Novas yet. And the Novas, one of them does graze the army, but it's not going to be good enough. Colossus goes down. Another Nova doesn't connect either. And Cure, he pushes in, pushing towards that third. Up. Better Nova towards the end. Does force back the main army. Not bad. Classic, he's holding. Just hold on. Takes down some of those Vikings. Likewise, the gold base is still standing as well. Here he didn't push in. Remember, Curie, he was fighting with half his army. He does want that gold. But this is the Zealots. And Curie's coming in from both angles. Nova goes off. Ooh, massive connection! Good connection with the Disruptor. Vikings get your ham on the Colossus. And the left-hand flank is going to break through. Up! Better connection once again. Takes down the Marines. Classic not taking the worst fight, but he's down to 1 Disruptor, 0 Colossus, just a gateway army. And the Novas are not going to connect. Kira is overstimmed, but it looks like he will overwhelm. Takes down the gold. GG gets called. It's just too much. And Kira will take the series 2-1. GG. GG, well played. Kira will take it. Again, it was a back and forth. At least it go all the way to the ace match, but here Classic just had a very hard time keeping up with Kira when it came to his initial push. If you recall, Classic, he was not quite ready for the move out. He wasn't quite able to keep up. Was brutal as well that the War Prism Harass just wasn't able to get much damage done across the map. And it was just caught in a really weird position. If you recall, we had the Dune drop into the main. At the same time, the tanks were laying siege upon the third. And even though Classic did survive that, remember, he lost 27 probes. He lost 27 workers. It was a massive economic blow. I want to say that Kira, after that, had pretty much a 20 worker lead. He was losing some SCVs here and there, but nothing too major. Like, Kira was looking quite comfortable in the aftermath. Classic was able to catch up when it comes to army supply, but he was still torn apart by the split push of Kira. GG. GG, well played. Kira will advance on to the semifinals, and that means that Zaun has an opponent. Zaun versus Kira is going to be the upper semifinals match. Before we get there, though, we have one more quarterfinals match to dive into. It is going to be another Terran versus Protoss. The non-stop TVP is up next. We have Bjorn versus Trap. Let's go.